Hey everyone, I just wanted to talk about the meta today, and I think there's kind of this conundrum where, I'm playing pretty much trying to play all new decks on stream, all new decks, and the reality is, and I think my last video, I had, with the Drekthar Druid, I was doing insanely well with it. I was talking to other players who were doing insanely well with it, but it was day two. I think I had like a 65% win rate, and it was like initial stats. There wasn't even diamond through legend stats. I was looking for decks. And then when the video came out, some people said they're doing really well, but some people said, well, they're not doing really well. And there is a certain, it is a very fast deck. So you can jam through a lot of games. Some people are going to hit their rolls and hit like Drekthar on turn one. But I felt the deck was very consistent overall. But I just want to justify myself because I feel bad that, people are saying, well, I completely missed the mark. And I want to go to say it's day two. The reality is, this is what the boring answer is. And this is what, if you want the safe decks, you go on HS Replay, and I'll show you. Here's what it is. Every single deck is an old deck. That's a good deck. I know, right? The best two new decks are the Alterac, which is doing good, but it's not even as good as Quest Hand Warlock. Everybody's like, oh, they need the nerf Alt. People just go back to playing Quest Hand Warlock. And Free Shaman is doing well, and the Bolnar OTK. But they're not doing as well as the old decks. So they're good, but they're not as top tier as any old deck. You just take Garrote Rogue, put Scabs in it. You play Quest Warrior. I know, Quest Warrior. Literally one of the best decks in the game. Literally no one is playing it. And that's boring. So people say, what's a safe craft? Quest Warrior. That's what a safe craft is. So the reality is, if you're coming, you're a day week one, you want to try something new. And I think, a lot of times what's the conundrum I'm in is if I tell you that the Drekthar Druid, I'm winning with it. I'm seeing other players with this. It's initial. By the time we know whether it's good or not, it's either going to be better or it's not going to be better. It's good. These decks kind of just explode overnight. And it's fun to be the first person playing a broken deck because you've got about 24 to 48 hours and then it's not there. So when I find a deck that I think is broken, I want to get to. And and even I was talking to the players, they're saying this deck's going to get nerfed, not because it's OP, but because it's a unfun play experience. But it's fun for you when you hit the Drekthar. And you hit the Drekthar very consistently. So I'm kind of just justifying, but look, here is the top 1,000 list. I know. Garrote Rogue, Libram Paladin. Libram Paladin is kind of like, there's 5 new cards, 25 old cards. So the reality is, it's not a new deck. Poison Rogue, that's the beat of the owls. Aggro Elemental Shaman. The Quest Shaman. Now, Quest Shaman's apparently doing a lot better at High Legend. The meta, so I think I saw Pizza get really high. Maybe we'll make a video on that later. But that's literally 2 new cards. Quest Warrior, no new cards. Buff Paladin, this is actually kind of a new, semi-new archetype. I haven't looked into this, but this is kind of newish. But yeah, Quest Hand Warlock, Quest Rogue, 1 new card. We've got Anaconda Druid. I believe, what do they even have a new card? Let me see. What was the new card on Anaconda? We were playing this last night. We were not doing well with it. It was we were getting. So, and this runs... Lothar the Ice Lord. Incredibly new. Incredibly meta-breaking. Oh, and Guff. Guff is actually pretty legit. So this is the reality. If you want to do something safe, if you don't want to do something well, especially if you get to play an old deck with some new cards. But we're trying to do this, so we're going to play old new decks, and we're going to play new decks. But this is the reality: is if you want to win, or if you want a safe craft, here are your safe crafts. 1, Garrote Rogue with Scabs. That is a safe craft. Now that's a hard deck, and that's a top 1,000 legend, so that's not exactly what I recommend for top players. You can see it goes down, but you can see Quest Rogue with Scabs, very safe craft. So Scabs, probably a very safe craft. And yeah, so 1 second. Apologize for that. Scabs, very safe craft. 2, Libram Paladin. One of the reasons I haven't made a video on this yet, I'm going to, but the reason I hadn't made a video on Libram Paladin is it's freaking expensive. All right, it's really expensive, and Paladin tends to be overrated in a lot of beginning things. So I played Libram Paladin I didn't do well with it. Like I think I went 3-5 at first. Like, and I finally am getting the hang. Like, you know, maybe making adjustments, but it wasn't a deck I was even doing well at high legend. So I thought, you know, but the reality is it's one of the highest win rate decks. And now, but the reality is, I don't want to. What I think, say, hey, this is broken. Go craft these 5 legendaries on the first day. So, but Libram Paladin doing really, really well. But yeah, so Libram Paladin, go craft the 7-drop. You could get the whatever the 1-drop is. And then we have Quest Warrior. Still, you could play this with no new cards. Quest Rogue, you can play this with no new cards. So this is kind of just the dilemma we're in. Is that pretty much? And I think, well, the most thing I find the most interesting is everybody was saying quests are broken. But what I like about the AlTK is that it's literally showing you that you don't need, while quests are broken, there's other broken things. So you could delete quests from the game and you would have a similar predicament. Just certain decks would rise and certain not. A lot of the best decks aren't quest decks. So this is kind of, it is what it is. I'm going to, still be trying to find the new broken decks. It's the first week, guys. Nothing is safe. But if you're going to go the safe, you go with an old deck with like 1 or 2 new cards. Those are the safest crafts in the early of an expansion. Everything else, there's a risk to it. There's a risk it won't be good. And so, and I think, it's a thing of the free Shaman. I got #1 legend with it, but it was also the first day of the meta. So that's kind of the reality. That's the risk you're in. And, like I said, it's more fun if you play the deck before everybody's playing it. So I don't want you guys saying, we could get in a situation where, hey, I waited for the data to come out. We waited until the Vicious Syndicate report came out 2 weeks later. And we were like, oh, All Warlock is good. Okay, now we'll play it. Oozes are everywhere. Because oozes are already everywhere for All Warlocks. So there's a lot of, like I said, the fun is playing. So I think I'm just going to give 3, we'll give 3 lists for, I'm going to give you a list for Libram Paladin here. I'm going to give you a list for, in the chat, for some of you who don't have the HS3 Premium. I'm going to give a list for this Buffadin, but actually, and then, so I'll give some of these lists in the Discord, in the description. I think I'll give at least 3 lists. But if you have a list that you see on this meta report that you're like, I really want, can you give me a list? Let me know and I'll put it in the description. But yeah, like I said, the actual answer is often boring. But I want to show you, these are the decks. And this is, remember, when we look at what we actually know is good, stats are almost always more reliable. But the reality is stats take time, where if I'm winning with something, like I said, if we wait, you're like, hey, we waited for the stats to come out, and now we know it's broken that everybody's playing it. So half the fun is getting there first. So anyways, hope you kind of guys like this. And yeah, I got lots more deck guides coming out. We're going to be playing lots more stuff. We're going to be playing good decks. We're going to be playing okay decks. We're going to be playing bad decks. We're going to play everything. So having a great time this expansion, even though, it is a lot of old stuff with new cards, but there is a lot of new fun stuff out there too. So anyways, talk to you guys later.